Greetings, positive, cardinal, airy, Libra. My name is Eliane Nicole. I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader, and now I'm going to do the November 2020 forecast for the sign of Libra. And I'm going to start with a tarot reading, and then I am going to, in the second half of the video, talk a little bit about some of the planetary transits for the month of November. I suggest that you follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole if you would like to, see more details about the planetary transits as they unfold, because I post about that in my stories and in my feed, and I like to give a broad overview here to give people an idea, but if I went into everything, it would be, an hour for each video, and we can't do that for 12 videos. So, as we enter the month of November, Libra, the High Priestess is your significator. So this is a woman who is very wise, showing up at the beginning of the month for you. And you were covered by the Seven of Pentacles reversed. So this is a decision. It's either a financial decision or maybe a work decision. And it's deciding whether to continue to, well, it looks like you've just made a decision about which way you're going to go. And you were crossed by the Fool, which is the only card that's sideways. This is how he looks upright. But in the sideways position, he represents what the Kabbalists call your tikkun, or your karmic correction in this cycle. So this is about making a new start. And I think a lot of it also is about allowing yourself to have beginner's mind in something and be okay with that. And we all have to be the fool many times in life, and that's how we learn, The basis of the situation, the Six of Pentacles reversed. So the Six of Pentacles reversed has to do with someone feeling like they're not getting their fair share in a contract or negotiation. What's leaving is the Eight of Cups reversed, and this is a meeting or a reunion. What could come into being is the Ace of Wands reversed. This could be a delay in a new start. It could also be the possibility of someone reneging on an offer or changing the original offer. Sometimes that happens after Mercury has been retrograde and goes direct, if there was any kind of agreement that you got into during the retrograde period. It could be you or the other person, the energy can go either way. What is before you is Temperance. This is a beautiful card. This is around mid-month, and it looks like Libra is, there's a new dawn happening. There's a sense of serenity. There is balance between heart and mind. Fears or insecurities. This has to do with romance, love. Others see you, the King of Wands. So for Libra men, it's others see you as taking action right now, just being active, taking authority in a situation. For Libra women, this is a man who looks like he is taking action with you in some way. And positive feelings, the Six of Cups. So this has to do with a visit with an old friend possibly at the end of the month, or just connecting with a friend, and love, intimate relationships, the concept of friendship in general. And the outcome is the Four of Pentacles reversed. So it looks like at the end of November, Libra is taking a risk or a gamble of some kind. And that is the tarot overview for Libra. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the planetary transits. As we enter the month of November, we are just coming off an October surprise. October 31st, the full moon, blue moon, which is a rare blue moon, was conjunct the planet Uranus, which brings shakeups, plot twists, and the unexpected. As I record this video on October 28th for the November forecasts, the October surprise hasn't come yet, but we astrologers all know that it's coming. And so that is going to very much impact the beginning of November as we enter the month. And so now, you know, what? Now what? Also, as we enter November, it's a Day of the Dead. And so this is the time where the veil between the realms is the thinnest. So there's a lot to do with, you know, the dead and communicating with the ancestors and things like this going on at the beginning of the month. So it's a very special time as we enter November in what's already been a very unique and special year. And, you know, it's a great time for a reading actually during Dia de los Muertos, especially if you want to connect with any ancestors. The tarot is a great portal for receiving messages from your loved ones who have passed to the other side. And so contact me for a reading if you're interested in doing that. November 3rd, Mercury stations direct in the sign of Libra. So this is very significant for Libra. For the Libra rising personality, this is happening in your first house of self-expression and, you know, identity and, you know, your body. And the first house is a very personal house. And so as this stations direct, you know, in the first house for Libra, it's on the axis with your 7th house, and the 7th house is the house of partnership and marriage. And so during the time Mercury has been retrograde in Libra, it could be a time where debates, arguments, heated discussions have come up. There could be a sense of inequality or imbalance, feeling like things aren't fair. And as Mercury stations, that might be the most intense experience or the buildup or the kind of crescendo of that, you know, story that's been building during the whole Mercury retrograde. And then after that, once Mercury starts to move direct, things are going to start to clear up, but it will be, it will probably take until November 20th for everything that has happened since the October 13th retrograde to kind of clear up and be back on track. And this is communications, this is mail, this is correspondence, this has to do with travel itineraries, this has to do with scheduling, this can have to do with health things for Libra rising, since it's in your first house as well. It can have to do with relationship things for Libra rising, since it's interacting with your house of relationships. And it really all depends on where this retrograde is hitting your personal planets, which I can only tell in one-on-one readings where I'm looking at your exact chart, which is why I recommend that everyone, you know, get their chart read with a real astrologer, especially during this time. But I'm going to move on. Ceres is moving into Pisces November 9th. Ceres is an asteroid, not a planet. Asteroids, they do add some nuance of detail, and so I do like to include them. Ceres has to do with motherhood, mothering, nurturing, all of those things. It can be how we nurture, it can be how we allow ourselves to be nurtured, and how this series is moving into Libra's house of health, the 6th house. And so it is really a time for Libra to show some tender love and care to their physical health during this transit that's beginning November 9th. And it will last through the rest of November and into December. But I will talk more about December in the next set of videos. November 10th, Mercury enters Scorpio again. Now, Mercury retrograde began in Scorpio and then moved to Libra October 27th. And so as it stationed direct November 3rd and started moving forward, now as it gets into Scorpio, we're really, you know, we're still revisiting old ground, communications-wise, I'm talking about Mercury things. So this is, you know, Mercury stuff. Mercury, as it enters Scorpio, we are more intuitive. We are following our instincts. Communication. There was probably some emotional kinds of communication that happened during the Mercury Scorpio retrograde period that we are revisiting now. There's an opportunity to handle things differently. There's also an opportunity to handle things the same. And it's up to you. November 12th, Jupiter conjunct Pluto. This is the third and final Jupiter exact hit with Pluto of the year. This Jupiter-Pluto conjunction has been very significant. We've followed it to reflect the surges in the virus. It's been exact April 4th, June 30th. The third and final is November 14th. I expect this to be the largest wave of the virus that we see happening at this time. Also, this is the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction has followed the transfer of large amounts of power and wealth. So we can also expect to see this happening for people during this time who are in that position. And this depends on how it, interacts with our birth charts. Another thing that has been big during the Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions is the proliferation of conspiracy theories. So that, Jupiter expands and Pluto is, power and wealth. Pluto is money. Pluto is destruction and death. Pluto is secrets and darkness and conspiracies, so all of these themes are happening, on different scales for the collective. And then in our personal charts, for the Libra rising personality, this is in your house of home. So there's been a lot of focus in that area for 2020. And now, Jupiter and Pluto are going to create their kind of final big expansion. So, for some people, this is going to be investing in real estate in ways that are really great, or the expansion of legacy kind of things could be going on. There are really powerful things that are going on for some people. And then for some, there could be more the themes of death, or, things that are going on, certainly for the collective with the virus. And November 13th, Mars goes direct in Aries finally. And as Mars stations, it's going to be very intense. For Libra, this is in the house of relationships, marriage, partnerships, lawsuits, quarrels. So things will intensify during this time in a story that's already been developing, that probably, initially heated up September 9th. Well, it was building up from the whole time Mars was in pre-shadow, which started at the end of August or the end of July. So through August, something was brewing, and it probably hit full in the relationship house, and business partnerships, quarrels, lawsuits. It's been most intense since September 9th through this November 13th period, where the crescendo happens, and then things slowly but surely are going to start to move forward and work themselves out in whatever your Mars story has been. But it is a story that is still, kind of going until the beginning of the year. But by mid-November, it reaches its highest point, and it kind of gets worse, and then it starts to get better, kind of thing, throughout the year. November 14th is the new moon in Scorpio. For Libra, this is in your house of money and resources, so it's a great time to set intentions around and do vision work around money and resources, but also values, self-esteem, self-worth. Those are also second house themes. And the Scorpio themes: rebirth, reinventing, regeneration, elimination, what we need to let go of and get rid of, what we need to say goodbye to. But also, Scorpio, any intentions around sex as well with Scorpio. And Scorpio rules that genital region. So if there's any health things around that you need to make intentions around, or anything like that. Scorpio also rules the occult and the unseen, and so this is a great new moon for readings, to connect to the ancestors. And again, I think that Tarot is, for me, that has been an excellent, very potent portal to be able to communicate with the ancestors. And so if you're interested in that kind of reading, definitely contact me. And either the Day of the Dead dates are great for that, or also the new moon in Scorpio is a great time for that. And then November 20th, Mercury is finally out of shadow. So that's when we see clearing up of whatever the Mercury retrograde story was for you, having kind of completely cleared up. November 20th through 21st in general looks like a really significant energetic shift to me. Mercury's out of shadow. Venus moves from Libra to Scorpio, which now she's not exalted anymore, but Sagittarius, the sun is entering Sagittarius, which in general brings some faith and optimism and hope to the future. And we still have a lot of processing and healing and work and everything to do. We've been through an intense year together, but there's a sense at this point that the worst is behind us, and we're looking with hope and vision towards the future. Once we hit this November 21st place where the sun enters Sagittarius, and when Venus enters Scorpio, she's not as exalted. I think for creatives and artists, it's now all that, inspiration and that creative inflow that we had during Libra. Now it's time to go deep. Now it's time to do the kind of alchemical research, digging kind of Scorpio work in our creative process during this time. For relationships, this could be a time where you can really connect and bond with your partner on a deeper sexual level. This is a time for those who are single. You are attracted to the femme fatale, in terms of art and what, the music we're listening to, or the movies we're watching, or the art we're interested in. We're going to be attracted to darker themes and mysterious themes while Venus is in Scorpio. But then, and so Venus will be in Scorpio obviously for the rest of November, and then I'll talk to you about what happens when she moves into Sagittarius in my December videos. But Sun enters Sagittarius, bringing a little burst of optimism and faith. November 21st, Venus in Scorpio for Libra is also in your house of finances and resources. So it's going to be going deep about what it is that you value, and what are your values? What is it that really matters to you? And then how your money and resources are lining up with that are going to be big themes for Libra during the transit of Venus in Scorpio. And the sun in Sagittarius is going to be lighting up themes of communication for Libra. So there's going to be a lot of correspondence, a lot of interacting, and a lot of talking and writing and speaking and things during that month of the sun in Sagittarius for Libra. And November 26th is obviously Thanksgiving or Thanks-taking. November 28th is Neptune going direct in the sign of Pisces. And this Neptune, I think, is an underspoken, underestimated player in the COVID story, in the pandemic story that's been unfolding for us this year. A lot of attention, rightfully so, has gone to the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto clump, Capricorn cluster. It's been in your fourth house, making fourth house topics very thematic for particularly the Libra rising personality. And if you're a day chart, the Libra sun personality. If you're a night chart, the Libra moon personality. But the Neptune, you know, went into pre-shadow of retrograde this year, March 3rd. And that's really when the shutting down started, like really got announced and started happening here in America, which is where the majority of my clients are, although I do read for people overseas too. I have a couple clients. Anyway, but Neptune going direct, I think, is where a positive shift starts happening in whatever is going to get us out of this cloud. And I don't know if that is a vaccine, a treatment, something, but I do believe that when Neptune gets all the way out of shadow, which is March 21st, 2021, that is when we are going to be out from under the COVID cloud. Whether that's a vaccine, a treatment, it's moved through the herd. I don't see exactly how that's happening yet. And as we get closer and I'm able to study the sky more and spend more time with it, I think I'll have a clearer idea of what that is. But for now, and I've been saying that for a few months, if you look back in my videos, that I look at March 2021 as being when we're out from under that cloud finally and getting into whatever the new normal is, because life is not going to be normal. What normal was, 2020 has changed the landscape, you know. And so November 30th is the full moon and prenumbral lunar eclipse in Gemini. For Libra, that is a very spiritual eclipse. I recommend a ritual. It's a good time also for magic and spells. And this is happening in your 9th house, the house of higher truth, religion, philosophy. It's also the house about travel and cross-cultural experiences. It's also the house that rules broadcasting and publishing, where that's applicable. And Gemini is how we learn and how we speak and how we write and how we listen. And so this is a dynamic, and the lunar eclipse sometimes brings up the shadow or darker themes in ourselves or those around us. And so sometimes that can be shocking, always illuminating. Sometimes it brings culminations in that area of our life. So that's, again, the 9th house. And it's a great time for Libra to get a reading with all these dynamic transits going on. And if you read with me, then we can find out exactly what your rising sign is, and then really see the houses of the full moon of Taurus, the blue moon, and the eclipse, and all these exciting things that are lining up as we wrap up this very significant year in our personal history and in our collective history. So thank you for joining me, Libra. It's been an honor and a pleasure to read for you. If you liked the video, give me a like. If you didn't like it, give me a don't like. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please share this video with other Libras you know. Please follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole. There I do weekly and daily updates, and I fill in the details of what I start here with these monthly marketing videos that I share with you. And I would love to read for you personally. It is my love and joy and pleasure in life to do astrology and to share it with others. So, I would be honored to have the opportunity to share it with you in a one-on-one consultation. And thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful October, Libra. November. Have a wonderful, wonderful November, Libra. I'm recording this in October, but this is for sure the November reading.